This is Our View, the television voice of working families, brought to you by the proud members of the Washington Federation of State Employees. Federation members negotiating a new contract are pushing the state to solve the problem of employee retention. Skilled workers are leaving public service at a rapid rate, and our high standard of public service is in jeopardy. We're taking that message to the street.
The reality is when people can make more money in the private sector, it's hard to retain people in the public sector, which is where we really need them. Those are some of our most vulnerable populations are being served by the public sector, public service employees.
The people who work in this office here in Seattle oftentimes have to commute, hours each way, and no one can really afford to live in this community. So we're asking for pay to help offset the high cost of living in this area. And we have a lot of our clients who are suffering because they don't get the quality services that they deserve. And we have high turnover. It takes a long time to learn our jobs, and people often leave our office to go to other agencies.
It's so important to us. Living in King County, we're not up to cost of living standards. We've got to get there. It's a struggle for us. We don't live in Snohomish County or any other county. Cost of living is so high, and for us to meet our needs every month, we've got to have this vote for it. Sign the petitions, get it moving, it matters.
It's not even about what's at stake here today, right this moment, at this rally. It's about the people that we serve. As a social worker within Children's Administration, we could be serving families so much better if we can just keep staff, retain staff. Right now, just caseloads are really high, and children may not be getting the attention that they deserve. I think if we can work more with our families, harder with our families, we might not see them coming back through the system again. And I think that's the ultimate goal.
I am a financial worker. I help aged, blind, and disabled individuals get their medical services and their food assistance and just about any services that you can think of that are needed for this very vulnerable community and group of people. It takes a lot of knowledge to be able to do the job that I do. I have to know the Washington Administrative Code. I need to know all of our policies, procedures, timelines, and guidelines. We have strict actual policies that we have to stick to. It takes a lot to actually learn everything. But now that I've learned it, I've actually taken a liking to being able to help this group of individuals. I enjoy being able to approve services. I got into this so that I can help. That's what I like to do. I love to help people, and I think a lot of my coworkers and colleagues here are doing just that. This job is not about the money, although we need a livable wage. What we have right now is not livable. I was just asked, what am I doing tonight? And the answer is trying to feed my baby. I understand other people have not seen raises in a long time. I've only been here for a short while, a little over a year. And if I could just leave something with you, anyone, is to know that everyone will be in this position at some point in our lives. We'll need some services, we'll need someone to talk to, someone to lean on, a shoulder to cry on. And if we can't take care of our own, how can we take care of others?
At the OECD Annual Forum in Paris, AFLCIO Chief Economist William Spriggs used the labor picture in Washington State to illustrate just how worker productivity, corporate profits, and worker pay are no longer connected. The result is, of course, the worker pays the biggest price for this disconnect.
So the problems we are seeing globally are that the types of things that policymakers normally concentrated on. Can I get jobs? Can I get productivity up? Can I make profits? That means people will benefit. And what's happening is those dots aren't connecting anymore. So policies, traditional policies aren't enough. And that means we have to go back to the institutions themselves. You mentioned Washington State. So one of those institutions, of course, is to have adequate wage floors. And in Washington State, we've seen in Seattle, we've seen in the suburb of SeaTac, the movement to create a decent wage floor so that wages cannot be pushed below certain levels. And that type of fight is the type of fight we don't see happening enough, the ability to define a way to actually move wages. The other fight you see going on centered in Washington State, Boeing workers have had to battle with their corporation sending jobs to other states that do not have unions in a deliberate attempt to undermine the ability of workers to negotiate wages. And of course, Boeing's continued efforts to offshore, to do production in China, so that instead of our old trade models, American workers, be more productive, be more innovative, you'll compete, we'll sell your product. They're finding in the case of China, be more productive, you'll lose your job because we're not going to make the product in the United States and ship it to China, we're just going to make it in China. So that whole framework is different as well. So it isn't simply that you can get trade agreements that are supposed to sell the product. We're getting investment agreements that mean that companies can set up shop somewhere else, whether it's to set up shop in South Carolina, set up shop in China, so that the ability of workers to translate contributions to productivity growth and innovation, they aren't able to capture it. So, on that very high level with the Boeing workers, or the very low level, and thinking about what happens to someone who works for Starbucks, also another Seattle corporation. This is where the struggle is.
Medicare is now 51 years of age. If you are soon turning 65 and will be enrolled in Medicare, there are things you need to know, deadlines you have to follow, and decisions you need to make concerning supplemental insurance. You're in luck. There are trained volunteers, guided by state employees at the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, who will help you.
I work for a program called SHIBA, which stands for Statewide Health Insurance Benefits Advisors, and we're a program of the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. And our role is to help people navigate health insurance coverage, especially Medicare. The way to start is to call our toll-free number, which is 1-800-562-6900, and we can connect you with a SHIBA program in your community. And all of our SHIBA representatives are actually trained volunteers. So I train volunteers in King and Snohomish counties, but we have volunteers all over the state of Washington who can talk with you one-to-one about your concerns, your questions, and your situation. It's really important to know what it is you're buying and what it covers. Part of the situation with Medicare is learning that Medicare doesn't cover everything. So there are different ways to help you with those costs, to help supplement those costs, different insurance products, and with SHIBA we'll help explain to you what those are in general, what companies offer them, what the prices are, and give you enough information so you can be an informed shopper. Other things that are really important for people on Medicare to know are sometimes they need to sign themselves up for Medicare, they need to go to Social Security and do that. You can miss timelines if you're not careful, so we want to educate people about that. A lot of people work past age 65, which is your typical Medicare age, and so we can consult with you about that because the decisions about when to sign up for Medicare are different during those times. Also, we do a lot of outreach to people who have limited income and assets about programs that can help pay the costs of Medicare. So we want to make sure that people that are really struggling to pay those medical bills or other bills in their life that they talk to us about that, we can screen them to see if they're eligible for help and help them sign up or apply for programs.
Working at a sports radio station in a major city? Exciting life, right? Apparently not for the people who work behind the scenes at a San Francisco radio station that's owned by a major broadcasting corporation whose CEO is paid $1.6 million a year.
I love working for KMBR because it's been my dream since freshman year of high school.
I started as an intern back when I was in college at SF State.
I've been responsible for running Super Bowl, World Series, as well as NBA Finals.
Board op, producer, engineer, co-host, host, fill-in guy, anchor, whatever, you name it, I've done it.
I think it's time we get livable wages, especially in the most expensive city in the country. We are 11% more expensive than New York.
We're very dedicated to working here. However, it's nearly impossible when wages have been completely stagnant for 10 years.
The only way I keep my dream alive now is by working 2 other jobs. And I know I'm not the only one. It's a reality for most of us here at KMBR.
No matter how loyal we are as employees, there has been zero effort to compensate the employees that make the station what it is.
You know, I just want to be paid what's fair.
This has been Our View, brought to you by the members of the Washington Federation of State Employees, the people who work for you. We remind you, when you get a paycheck for your hard work, you don't give up your rights. And be sure you are registered to vote. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next month.
I've been a zookeeper for 20 years.
My job title is mental health technician.
I'm a correctional officer sergeant for a male facility.
I'm an office support supervisor.
I am a custodian with the University of Iowa.
I'm an administrative assistant,
a school bus driver for Atlanta Public Schools.
We actually sing songs on our bus, and the kids go home every night and they write a story.
I like helping the little people more than those at the top, but they all generally have the same questions. They're all worried about the same thing. What's going to happen? What can I do? Who can I talk to?
When I go out there and I take care of that intersection, I know that my mom is driving on there, my sisters are driving on those streets.
If I wasn't there to do the work that I do, I think that the patient would suffer. It's very rewarding for someone to say, well, thank you, Dennis, for helping me when I needed it most.
There are times where I get overwhelmed, or there seems like there's a huge impossible problem that I have no idea how I'm going to fix. First thing I do is I reach out to my union brothers and sisters.
You're not out there on your own, so you can take that next step with confidence. To have millions of brothers and sisters behind you is an awesome thought.
When we fight to break down those barriers, keeping us from negotiating our work or caring for our families, we are fighting for all Americans.
We are ready at any time to go fight the fight, whether it's for the public, whether it's for our rights. There is no rest. Justice never sleeps.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Don't give up, because sooner or later, it's going to be rewarding.
The clouds are lifting. The future is ours for the taking. And our plan is real simple. Never quit. To anyone who questions our dignity or insults our work, we say we'll never quit on ourselves, on each other, on our union, on our communities.
I spend 40 hours a week with these people. It's like my second family.
When they're hurting, you know when they're hurting, and you try all that you can to see if you can make that hurt go away. I just get choked up when I think about it, you know, just how proud I am to be a member of AFSCME.
We need a movement, not a moment, that will not turn back. We have to have a movement where all of us together, for the sake of love and justice, decide we're not going to give up.
I am AFSCME.
I'm AFSCME.
I'm AFSCME,
and I never quit.
We're AFSCME,
and we never quit.
AFSCME never quits.